The following podcast contains spoilers for Watch Out for the Automobile. You have been warned. My leg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your comrade, Glen, along with your other comrade, Miguel Magusto. It's really weird to say Miguel, a Spanish name in Russian. Oh, man. Greetings. Hello.
How are you doing?
Oh, man, just living the dream.
Yes, the dream.
As soon as that AC turned off, everything feels gross.
I'm waiting for the fall and the winter when turning off the AC is not a big deal.
My slutty weather. Oh my god, I can't wait.
Yes, your turtleneck weather.
I'm gonna wear such cardigans. It's gonna be insane.
I have never seen someone make a turtleneck look as slutty as you do.
I'll do it.
You already have in previous years.
I'd put the pH in fucking slut. Fat, sorry, not slut. What am I talking about? Not me.
That is enough of talking about sluts. Glen.
Yes.
What movies you watched this week?
Oh, well, first let's talk about the movie that we watched together, and that was Blue Beetle, which there's a review finally up out there in the webs. Most likely on YouTube, obviously, that I finally edited. They got around to.
Yes.
We talk about it there, and you should listen to it there.
Yeah.
Because that's why. After that, I had very briefly talked to you about kind of getting into kind of reading and audiobooks again. There's some that I just don't have the time to read or just will not want to read.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad one, but I feel like Dracula's on that list for sure. Frankenstein, I did buy. I might get to that, but audiobook is probably what's going to end up happening, especially since it's out there free. But the one I did get into this last week was The Great Gatsby, because that's a book that I finished, or no, I'm sorry, not finished. That is one that I had not finished about 3 times. And I just wanted to get it the fuck over with because I knew exactly what I would do. I'd pick it up again, get halfway through, and then I just stop.
Yeah.
So audiobook it was. And surprisingly, the 2013 movie, the one made by Baz Luhrmann, if I'm correct, is kind of accurate. You know, there's some things that he does that I'm not a fan of in the movie. Kind of like the hip hop sequences in the old, what is it, the 40s? The
20s.
20s, sorry. Roaring 20s, that's right. Yeah. The old 20s style, you know, I wasn't a fan of that, but, you know, that's his style.
Yeah.
Other than that, the movie itself I thought was great. And it was one of my favorites for a while until, you know, I expanded my catalog of movies. But the book is the movie is surprisingly accurate to the actual book. The book was good overall. I had more fun with the movie, obviously, because I could, you know, everything's going on, and Leo is like a perfect Gatsby. And there was, what the fuck was Joel Edgerton's character in the movie? The guy reading the audiobook in this, they sounded exactly alike, delivering like the lines in the book and in the movie. They sounded exactly alike. It was really fucking scary. I'm like, is this actually Joel saying these lines? It was not. It was some other fella. But anyway, on to the new stuff. And by new, I mean 89 is when this movie came out. I watched Uncle Buck.
Oh!
Yeah, there's not too many John Candy movies that I've witnessed in my experiences. But this one kind of was dormant in, I think it was the Netflix library. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of editing right now some other stuff. Let me watch this in the background. And I did. And overall, I think it was like really good. But I think what kind of dulled it from getting, I think I gave it a 3.5. I think what dulled it from getting a 4 is just kind of the sequences, like the comedy sketches within it. It's like they've got this story laid out and then they sprinkle in like the comedy sketches of like him just doing random shit that's kind of like, oh, ha 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 ha, funny. We need to get that ha ha moment. But overall, the story itself was really good, and I think he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then after that, this popped up, and I don't even know why or where it popped up. But it popped up, and I was like, what is this movie? I've watched this movie, haven't I? It sounds like I did. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. It's American Graffiti by George Lucas. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, I thought I watched this, but I'm definitely thinking of another movie still to this day. So this movie, the first half of it was kind of rough to get into. So I had it in on the background. And it was kind of like setting up the stereotypical high school, coming of age kind of thing. Everybody's kind of hanging out in town. Everybody's about to go to college. They're having one night banger, man. We're doing it the last ride, man. We got to do it out in their sexy ass cars. But a good portion of the beginning was just super cringy. I mean, I could see back in the 70s of why it was 70s, 80s, 90s, why people loved this movie. And people still do. It was actually just playing in the theaters, which was fucking scary. Because what was it, on Saturday, I think I watched this. And Sunday, it was in theaters. I'm like, what the fuck? This is weird. Yeah. I just watched this movie. I mean, I thought it was okay. It got way better in the second half when the characters, calmed down on their teen horniness and just actually became kind of people. But overall, it wasn't really all that. Mm-hmm. People love it, and that's good for them. But after that, I watched Watch Out for the Automobile, which we shall get into after your silly little secrets that you're about to tell me.
Yes. Well, first, before I get into the movies I watched, I do want to tell people that my film, Eugene versus Humanity, will be available on our YouTube channel for a limited time. Yeah. Nice. I don't know how limited of a time, at least a week, maybe more. Who knows? Mm-hmm. It really depends on if my distributor tells me to take it down or not. But I have told him I'm doing this. He has not told me not to yet. So I think we're in the clear. But
that's pretty cool.
Until that happens, it will be up there as of the Friday the 1st, September 1st. So it'll be up there by the time this is out. Check it out. It's won some awards.
And one of the best line deliveries of all time.
One of the best line deliveries from Glen here. And I am very proud of it. But check that out. But other than that, I watched 4 movies. A light week. I went on a
par
camping,
with me.
Yeah, I went on a camping trip with my friends. Well, not camping. We went to a cabin up in the Adirondacks. It's not camping, but
that's still camping.
We go there because there's 2 restaurants there that we love, and that's the only reason we go there. But the first movie I watched was Blue Beetle. Watched it with Glen. We have a review for that up on YouTube. And then on my trip with my boys, I rewatched Biodome. One of my favorite movies as like a early teenager. I'm talking like 12,
I feel like you
13.
guys watch that annually.
No, we don't. I haven't watched it in like 15 years. And we put it on cautiously. We're like, this is probably going to have aged terribly. Yeah. And while there are moments that are very like would not fly today, they are few and far between. And the rest of it is relatively, it holds up surprisingly.
All right.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Of course, it's stupid humor. Like if you're watching it for smart, clever humor, you're looking in the wrong place. This is Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin playing 2 stupid guys who get locked into a biodome. Mm-hmm. It is stupid, but it is fun, and it holds up surprisingly if you like that kind of humor. Very stupid. And then we continued our stupid movie watching with Basketball, the movie from Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park fame.
Yeah.
This one has a few more moments that haven't aged well, a few transphobic, homophobic moments. It's hard to... I'm not trying to defend them, but like they're not like egregious. They're not like disgustingly homophobic. Yeah. It's just like... It's of the time how it was. And I hate saying of the time, but it is just the case. It was a different world back then.
I read that they didn't even want to do that movie.
I believe it. But if you get past that and look at all the physical comedy that's in there, like people flying in the background, like just being thrown around in the background, it's a hilarious movie. And those homophobic, transphobic moments maybe make up a total of 3 minutes. out of the entire movie. So it's not like it doesn't take away from the entire movie. But be warned, they do exist in that. But there have been worse in movies today. So there you go. And then I watched Watch Out for the Automobile, otherwise known as Beware of the Car, which is another title. And we're going to get into that right now.
Кто он?
Преступник.
Какой преступник?
Современный, культурный, я бы даже сказал, преступник нового типа. За год из одного района угнано 4 автомобиля.
3.
Ну вот и вы уже слышали, да? 3. 4-ю угнать не удалось, но скоро с этим будет покончено.
Хищник. Чует приманку, крадется. Теперь пойман.
Прелесть.
Выпишите.
Ну что ж, звоните.
Когда?
A very good cop tries to catch a very insidious and extremely clever serial car thief. The bitter irony is that the thief is not very clever, absolutely not insidious, and a virtuous person and his friend.
Yes. Bear with me with these names. It is directed by Eldar Ryazanov, written by Emil Braganitsky and Eldar Ryazanov, starring, oh boy, Inokenti Smoktunovitsky.
Wow, that is a tough one.
Oleg Efremov, Lyubov, oh my goodness, Dorbzhanskaya, and Olga Araseva. That's all I'm going to butcher. I apologize again
Yep.
to any Russians or Ukrainians out there. Except for Putin.
I can't believe you forgot about Olga Araseva.
That was the last one I said.
Damn it, I can't believe I forgot about Olga.
This, of course, came up in Streaming Roulette, a relatively stacked Streaming Roulette.
It was, yeah.
I believe the runner-up from this was like 3 hours long, so we decided to nix that one.
Yep.
And then
With
the other one...
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, the other one, I forget what the other one was, but it seemed...
It was Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. Still seems pretty good, just we went with this one.
Yeah.
Because it seemed fun. And for the most part, it was. I think it is, one thing, especially as an American, where we're kind of spoon-fed what to think of the rest of the world until we're older. When you hear of Soviet Russia, you think of zero laughter completely.
Pretty much.
And of course, even in the bleak times of Soviet Russia, people still laughed. And this was rather slapstick and humorous, which is something I wasn't fully expecting from this time. So it was nice to see. It was in color, for me at least. I don't know, was it in color for you?
It was in color for me. But it was nice to see a redhead in the main role.
But to me, it seemed like it was shot in black and white and then colored in post, similar to They Shall Not Grow Old, that World War I documentary. Because all the beiges were the same shade of beige, all the blues were the same shade of blue, all the reds were the same shade of reds.
And when they were those shades, they were popping. Like, his eyes were super blue.
Super blue, yeah.
His hair wasn't like obnoxious red, but it was like a very, very nice looking red. And I was like, ooh, look at that. That's
I could not
hair.
find any technical specs on if it was colored in post or what have you. The original... Okay, so it was colored in post because the original version was black and white. Of course, I spent 15 minutes looking for that, and then the second we started recording, it's right there in my face. So yeah, it's filmed in black and white and then colored. I'm assuming using something similar to Technicolor techniques, which had a similar but less flat look. And I mean flat in like the most respectful way possible, because Technicolor had different shades of certain colors, but they still popped. Where it was kind of like sepia almost.
Looking at the IMDb cast, it's curious how many of their pictures got Technicolored as well.
Yeah,
Because a lot of them are black and white, and then boom, some of them are like what they look like in the movie, which was made in 1966.
Yeah,
but colored.
So it was kind of cool to see that, a different coloring technique from Technicolor. I'm assuming, again, still cannot find information other than the fact that it was originally a black and white.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that the Soviets did not use a American coloring company to color it.
Can't do that.
Granted, it could have been colored after the fall of the Soviet Union, so who knows? Someone knows out there, but it's not me, and it's not IMDb.
Tell us, damn it.
But yeah, this was very reminiscent to me in like a Mr. Bean kind of thing.
Yep.
Not nearly as goofy or as silly as Mr. Bean, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of that physical comedy, and you know,
it wasn't on the level of Bean or like the Dame
yeah,
or anything like that, but it was reminiscent for sure.
It was always like third party characters too, like when one of the characters was like trying to sell a tape recorder, and this random guy just walked up and got like really close and started looking at it while he was trying to sell it to someone else. So there was like a lot of awkward moments of comedy like that I really enjoyed. But yeah, overall, this was just an interesting movie to watch, especially to see like the morals of Soviet Russia at that time, because you know it's about a car thief.
It's I mean, it's definitely a super easy watch, and the plot lays it right there for you. It doesn't stray far from it. It's just about a dude stealing some cars for the commonwealth of everyone else but himself.
For the orphans.
Commonwealth's not the right word, but
yeah,
for everybody else and not himself. He's genuinely just a good dude. Doesn't seem like he's all there, but not in a bad way in any sort. He's just there to help people by stealing from. He's basically like a Russian little Robin Hood.
Yeah,
A nice little Russian Robin Hood of sorts, which is such a weird sentence to come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Russian Robin Hood? Guy's crazy.
There was definitely some, and this was expected with Soviet Russia or the USSR, is that there's definitely some slight propaganda in it. Essentially, you know, of course, the guy's only stealing from corrupt politicians and people who try to take more than they are owed. To me, it seemed like only one, a family could only own one car, and the beige car was like a guy trying to have two cars in the family or something. I'm not entirely sure of like
it seemed like it was hard. It was hard to own a car in the first place.
Yes.
And if you did, that was kind of the car that you got.
Yeah. But yeah, so he would like take the cars from people who he thought as immoral or corrupt, and even said he tried to return them to the police, but they didn't. So then he would just sell them to people and then give the money to orphans. But then there's the moment I thought was funny is that they were in the community theater, and the director of the play was just like, acting's not a good profession, so all actors need to have day jobs.
Yep.
It's just fully be like, oh, you got to work for the motherland and do what's right for her, and then do the play in the end of the work
This
day.
is a hobby, damn it.
Yeah, which was funny seeing presumably paid actors
Yeah.
portraying that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty humorous. But you know, it's just interesting seeing the USSR through the lens of the USSR at the time, without it being super propaganda. Like there's elements of it, but it's not like complete propaganda where it's just like you feel dirty, for lack of a better word, watching it.
Ooh.
Not in that way. I mean, dirty is in the I'm watching something that should never have been made.
Good.
Yeah, kind of like when you're watching the Nazi film of the Berlin Olympics.
Yeah.
From the 30s, from Lena Riefenstahl. I think that's her name. Triumph of the Will.
Good old Lena.
Yeah. Whereas, like, that is Lenny Riefenstahl. I got the last name right. Who'd have thought I'd get Riefenstahl correct? But yeah, that is
Stalin. That's who.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that Triumph of the Will is not about the Olympics. I just can't remember what that's called. But Triumph of the Will was made by the same same woman. So
Yeah, it's very. One thing I did enjoy about this movie is kind of in like a dumb way is how kind of dumb or at least blind everyone was around him to like, oh man, we've got this car thief. Who could it be? Who could this be? This guy with a fucked up leg. Ah, yes, he's got Shakespeare. Like all the signs immediately point to this guy, but because of his goodwill and good nature, everybody kind of just turns a blind eye to him because, like,
I think that's part of the joke, but I get what you're saying.
100%. But it's just like so funny how just like, oh no, he's good. It definitely wasn't this guy who's got Shakespeare, who's got a fucked up leg. He's good. He's got a family. It's really fucked up, and it just shows like how goodwill, like how he as a person, nobody sees him doing these things, and then obviously the dots do connect, and they're like, well, god damn it, man, it was you. What are you doing, you silly goof?
It's like
he
when,
was he was a whole likable fella.
Yeah. It's like when Hank realized that Walter White was Heisenberg.
Yeah.
In Breaking Bad. It's just like, what? Everything's pointing to him. Kind of, sort of, not really.
Especially when he was putting WW in the book.
Yeah.
It's like,
this, of course, is more obvious than Breaking Bad was. But it's, you never suspect the people you're close to or your friends or whatever. And, I think it added to the humor, but was also used as like a way to elongate the movie. It's like,
It definitely did, because without it, I think this movie would have been 45 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But it's filled with humor. I loved it when the guy was thinking he was a taxi, and he's just like, "No, I'm stealing this car." And he was like, "Well, I don't care. Just drop me off here."
I just need to get where I'm going. Help me out.
And then he's considered a suspect, obviously, when the car alarm goes off.
And he runs away.
Yeah. There's lots of goofy stuff like that.
My favorite of the goofies was the whole cop scene.
The chase?
Just the chase, and just mainly those two their chemistry together was just overall fun. But the chase for sure was, I think, the most fun I had with it. And just like, it kind of how good they were with cinematography, like the setting up their shots and kind of getting long shots of of scenes. But there was one huge mistake with all of that is when he pulls up onto that like a tow truck, and like you could see him kind of looking out the window, and there's a guy in the in one of the mirrors that's not Yuri.
Oh, I missed that. I missed it. That's pretty funny though.
I missed it at first. I'm like, wait, that didn't look like Yuri. And then I rewound it, and it's just some dude in a top hat that's definitely not Yuri.
Yeah.
Just chilling on the side of the car on the tow truck. I think that was the only thing that took you out of it. But I think the setting up, it's not just the car chase scene, but like a lot of the shots were really like good in the movie.
Yeah.
Like what was the one specifically? It was like Yuri was trying to steal the car for the second time.
When he brings the crane?
That was the third time when he actually gets the car.
Oh, the second time with the bear trap.
The second time with the bear trap, and when all of the people who own the car were at like a party. I really liked the shot of like it was inside the car, and then like the flock of people are coming up to look at the guy's car. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is such a great car." And then like in the window, like you're looking at the flock of people like getting on the car, but in the reflection of the window, you could see Yuri kind of just like scared out of his mind because he's about to get fucking caught, but somehow they don't see through a tinted window. I guess they're all blitzed out of their minds. Yeah. So
and then when and you also got to it's nighttime.
Yeah.
In their world, it's dark. Obviously, it's lit, so we can see what's going on. And then I loved when they revealed him when the crowd went to the front of the car. They panned with him and revealed him like kind of in the corner of the passenger seat. Yeah, that was a great shot. I agree. I loved all the little reveals of the chase as well. Like when it was so comical when he was like hiding behind a hill. Like the car was like down like a 60-degree hill or something, and the motorcycle drives past. And that was just like the funniest chase scene ever. Specifically when they come up to a school zone and slow down, and instead of the cop taking the advantage to pull him over, he slows down too.
Yeah, they have like a monologue of like Yuri loves kids and he would never do anything to hurt them. So he slows down, and then it goes to the cop's monologue. He's like, also cop loves kids too. So
and then the cop was just like pointing to have him pull over, and Yuri was just like, nope. No, I'm good.
No, I love his expressions. He's like, no. And
then even when Yuri exits the school zone and speeds up, the cop still goes 15 miles an hour or whatever it is. Until he hits the end of the school zone, it speeds up. I was just dying when that happened.
Yeah.
I thought that was so great.
That whole sequence was fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie overall. There's really not much to it. It's a pretty simple plot. It's just got a lot of really good gags in it, both physical and dialogue wise. When his cop friend who's in the play with him is describing the suspect, and he says he has rounded shoulders, and then he like sits up straight to kind of square up his shoulders a bit. I laughed at that. There's just a lot of little things like that. Like none of it is like uproariously funny, except for maybe the chase scene. That was pretty funny, but like the rest of it's still pretty solid. It's just so consistently humorous, and never really gets old, despite it kind of being a repetitive film. They do a great job of making you, even before you know why he's stealing the car, you want him to get away with it. The one with the crane, I think he said that's the third time he tries to steal it.
Third time, yeah.
And it's just, that's the one time he successfully steals it too. Like that time I was just like, you got to do it. You got to steal it. You can do this. And I was just like, I don't even know why he's stealing this. For all I know, he could just be a kleptomaniac. Like,
and definitely, if he didn't steal at that time, you're like, all right, we got to move on with this. Like, come on, steal the fucking car.
Yeah. They did a really good job of making you root for him, even though you had no idea what was going on, especially in our culture where, like, we don't know if the guy he's stealing it from is a, con artist or corrupt person or whatever. Because, like, it's just a guy with a car. That's not that big of a deal to us now today, probably to Russia now today as well. I don't know enough about Russia, but especially in the U.S., which is a guy has a car. Okay, and
my car now.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. The main guy who played Yuri, I'm not even gonna try. Why'd I start trying? He reminded me of Dave Foley for some reason from Kids in the Hall. Also plays Flick in A Bug's Life, if anyone knows that. I couldn't tell you why. I just got a lot of Dave Foley vibes from him. He doesn't really look like him, but it's just his overall...
It's the vibe.
It's the vibe. He was giving Dave Foley vibes. And I was imagining it just being Dave Foley in my head the entire time.
I mean, there's not too much to say more. I mean... the one thing I would have wished more is that I wish were they actually together? His wife or his girlfriend, Liuba, or however you pronounce her name.
Yeah, I think they were, because at one point they said he was afraid of commitment.
Yes.
So I think that they
kind
of
wish there was more
dating.
From like her end of like character, other than just kind of being the girl he kind of keeps popping up to every.
Yeah, that just kind of felt like a fill-in.
Yeah,
I also like that he didn't get away with it in the end.
100%.
Like even though he had noble intentions, like he the movie ends with him approaching her Liuba, I think that's her Liuba, her bus that she drives. Also, communist, fascist, whatever you want to call them aside, they at least like had women working in the 60s, assuming that they wanted to work. Like the judge was a woman.
Or was it propaganda?
It might have been propaganda. You're right.
Whatever.
Like the judge was a woman though. which
Yep.
was pretty cool. You know, that wasn't even really a thing in the 60s for the U.S., so pleasant surprise. Not, you know, obviously not siding with the USSR, but that was a pleasant surprise for a country I didn't expect that to be happening in.
Except for when they got us that 1,000 subscribers. Thank you a lot.
Yes.
There's a callback for you.
Yeah. But yeah, he approaches her bus at the end and takes off his hat and says, I'm back, and he's got a shaved head, which I'm assuming that in the USSR they shaved heads of prisoners, either for humiliation reasons or for, you know, lice reasons. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, really fun movie. Really enjoyed it. Way more than about the same as I thought I would enjoy it, just from the ridiculous synopsis.
Yeah.
That it is. Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. Got anything else to
Can't
say?
add too much more to that.
Yeah. I think my favorite part was just looking at the color. It just made it look very interesting.
The colors were great, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, everything kind of popped in its own way.
I've never seen beige look more interesting in my entire life. Mm-hmm. So.
And it's good to see a redhead in a main role.
In Soviet Russia, beige is cool.
How long can he jerk this off? This fucking redheaded guy. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Same here.
Yes. So that brings us to the Judgment. It was streaming roulette week. So, Glenn, heads or tails?
Tails.
It is heads. So I get to go first. Yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. It didn't wow me really. It was just kind of a fun movie.
Fun little watch.
Fun little watch. No complaints really. But it is interesting that it's a comedy from the USSR. You kind of get a peek past the Iron Curtain into what life
Literally.
they wanted people to think life was like back then, at least.
Yeah.
I know that they hid a lot of things in their media, so who knows how accurate this is, but it was still interesting to see that they could fake that. So I guess, you know, I had a good time watching it, so I would say, yeah, it goes on the shelf.
Ooh.
I'm like iffy about it, though, so don't feel like you need to do anything.
No, it's the only reason to bump it over to the shelf is that it's like the requirements that it hit to get it. It was made in the 1960s Russia's, so you don't really expect it to be like what it was, but it was good. It was a fun time. I mean, I wouldn't. The only thing that's really holding me is I wouldn't necessarily go and recommend this to people.
Yeah, I get
but
that.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd probably say no.
That's perfectly all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to tell Putin, and he is going to...
Not until after the 2000. Come on, man.
You're right, I'm sorry. So, watch out for the automobile, also known as beware of the car. Also known as something in Russian that I'm not going to try to butcher, does not make it on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our assignment for 3 weeks from now, or 2 weeks from now, whenever. So we're going to take a little break because the spooky season is upon us, and we always take a little break before that.
It's coming.
Before doing 6 weeks straight of horror movies. So September 25th will be our next, why can't I think? Episode. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, hold off until then, until listening. Unless you want to listen back to older episodes, that's fine as well. Yeah. So in our first of the Spooktacular Spooktober of 2023, my pick is going to be a film that I love dearly. Or do I? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I haven't seen it in a while, so I might hate it now. Who knows? And it's going to be on Max, also known as HBO Max, and that is Coraline.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Coraline Jones always dreamed of finding a better world. A world more exciting than this. But never did she imagine that she'd discover it in her own home. A parallel place
We've been waiting for you, Coraline.
where parents are always fun
I love your garden! Can't believe you did this!
and everything is so good
What's shaking, baby?
it just can't be real.
Mom?
You're just in time for supper, dear.
You're not my mother. My mother doesn't have... But...
Buttons?
I watched this at your house one of the times I house sat.
Was that your first time watching it?
Yes.
Cool.
Fully, at least, for sure.
I haven't seen it since it was in theaters, so
God damn.
yeah. An adventurous 11-year-old girl finds another world that is strangely idealized version of her frustrating home, but it has sinister secrets. Ooh. Directed by Henry
This
Selick.
was just in theaters, too.
Yeah. Directed by Henry Selick, written by Henry Selick and Neil Gaiman, starring Dakota Fanning, Terry Hatcher, John Hodgman, Jennifer Saunders, Dawn French, Keith David, Robert Bailey Jr., Ian McShane, and many others. Of course, the stop-motion animation film. I have been seeing this on a lot of Instagram Reels and TikToks and all that, and it's been making me really want to rewatch it because a lot of people are really dissecting it to be like, oh, this movie's creepier than you thought. I was like, yeah, I thought it was pretty creepy to begin with, so I don't really need to dissect it to think it's creepy.
Wait till you read the book.
I might at some point. You don't know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Coraline is going to be our first episode of the Spooktacular Spooktober. And that's going to be on HBO Max, also known as Max. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_film_review. TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR. I had an aneurysm for a second.
And I'm Glen, KFR.
Did you have an aneurysm for a second?
I felt chest pain. Something's going on.
But that will do it until September 25th when we start our Spooktacular Spooktober and get spooked
Ooh.
with Coraline.
Wow.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.